if you're a woman and you begin to understand from your experience what you don't enjoy in man, in partnership, if you understand what you don't enjoy, then you are becoming wise. Then you might find what you do enjoy. The same with man. Stop looking for what you enjoy. Begin by knowing what you don't enjoy as a result of your blessed experience of living. That's what experience of living is for. So that you know what you don't enjoy. What else is living for? Do you go on making the same old mistakes time after time after time in your relationships, whatever they are? Is that the purpose of experience? Well, it is. Until you've had enough pain in experience, which everybody has, then you come to your senses and say, I don't want to have this pain anymore. Then you start to see, well, what's causing this pain in my relationships? That's if you're intelligent enough to see that. And you cease allowing into your life what you don't enjoy. I mean, you can't help getting sick, can you? If you take the usual precautions that we learn from experience, just the simple things that we teach the children. After you've had a hot bath, don't stand naked in a draft, because our experience teaches us that you're likely to get a chill. And of course, children don't have that experience. So that's what parents are for, to guide them as best they can in the obvious to us, which is not obvious to children who don't have sufficient experience yet. But of course, in love between man and woman, that's a much more touching and moving interaction. As a matter of fact, it's woman's whole life is her love life. And both, though, are looking for what they enjoy. And that will always mislead you. Because your experience is not to show you what you enjoy. Your experience is to show you what you don't enjoy so that you become wise. But you still don't take a position. You're still not afraid. You're still not afraid to be with man, but you certainly don't go in and make love with him just like that, which seems to be the popular thing these days. Because to go and make love with a man when you first meet him, as no doubt you've learnt, for God's sake, how often do you have to learn, you women? To go and make love with a man the first time you meet him serves no purpose whatever except to show you how shallow you are and man is, and how 2 or 3 days later you will then start to be crying, depressed or unhappy, and you won't know the reason why. Because you won't be intelligent enough to connect it up with having done something that does not serve love, that does not serve your deeper knowledge. It's a very, very dangerous thing to make love anyway between man and woman. Always has been, always will be. Because it's a very precious thing. When you make love, when one man enters a woman's body, the penis is so powerful as an instrument, just like the vagina is so powerful, that the first thing that the penis does, it's supposed to be an instrument of cleansing. It's supposed to take the unhappiness that has been put into woman through her various one-night stands, through her failed relationships, through her inability to know what she doesn't want and getting mixed up in a partnership that feels she can't get out of. and then eventually gets out of and carries that hurt. Where does woman carry her love hurts? Where is woman carry her loving hurts? She carries it in her vagina. She knows that, or when she's wise enough, she knows it, because the vagina starts to get tightened up from all the hurts that man has put upon her, the emotional hurts. Her vagina actually starts to tighten up. And then even the most experienced woman can find it painful sometimes to make love. And it's not because of herpes, it's because of the emotion of having been hurt so often by man. Where does it go to? Where does hurt reside? So if you bruise your leg, where does it reside? Where you hit your leg. That's where the bruise occurs. Where's the aching muscle? Where you've played too much tennis when you're not used to it. You get ache in the muscle. So where does your love life show itself? Where does it register? In your vagina, woman. Not the rightness of it. Yes, the rightness of lovemaking always relaxes you, always opens you up and leaves you open and sweet and beautiful and soft in the vagina. But woman is a woman every day of her life and has to go through the old experiences that you've all had with man. And there are many hurts amongst that, many broken relationships, many disappointments. And where do you think they go? They go into the place where you're bruised, into the instrument of love, which is your vagina, where is the practical instrument of practical physical love between man and woman. That's where it shows. And so a loving man's penis is supposed to go in there with all the power that it has and start to change, to transform that hurt and pain in a woman, that past hurt and pain. It's supposed to extract that and then transform it. Isn't this what love's about? Well, what's love for, eh? What do you think the love between man and woman is for? What is love always for? Love is always to transform, to help to get rid of something that has made the life difficult, unhappy. Surely that's what love's about. It's not about having an argument between you and me. It's not about me accusing you or blaming you for my life. What sort of a love is that? That's not love. Love is always a healing thing. Otherwise, it's not love. Love is not an argument. Love has never argued yet and never will. So what would you expect in this most intimate of interactions between man and woman? The most intimate interaction on earth, in the whole species, the making of love between the two, which makes life or reproduces the species. That's how powerful these two instruments are, of penis and uterus. So are we talking about something that you can just dismiss like that with a one-night stand? No, we're trying to understand what love between man and woman is. We're trying to understand it first and not be driven by, man is driven by his sexual imperative. He can't help it. He's just a sexually propelled creature. Woman is a creature open to love. Just like her vagina is open and there's nothing there, that's what she is. There's nothing there, or there's not supposed to be anything there except to receive love. And if it receives anything that's not love, it tightens in some way. It loses its innocence in the way that it gets hardened. And what happens when you get something hard? What happens when something goes hard from bruising like that? It loses the natural feeling. So many women, due to one-night stands, due to the disappointments in past love relationships, because they didn't know how to love, because the man didn't know how to love, she then gets hard in the vagina, which means she loses much of the feeling in her vagina. Is this true or false? Now, you don't have to answer to me. You answer to yourself. Because I'm only here to tell you the truth. If it's not in your experience yet, well, great. If you just enjoy the lovemaking, that's wonderful. To enjoy lovemaking is what it's for. Not the excitement of it, for that's going to cause depression and unhappiness 2 or 3 days or a week later. So many women have lost the feeling in the vagina. Many women. And as a result of that, many women have actually given up making love with man. This is a fact of life I'm talking about. Possibly to do with your mother and father. Possibly to do why they don't really know what love is. Possibly between why your mother is so disappointed over the years that she gets emotional about love. Possibly because why your father is emotional, because he's so sexually frustrated, because he's no longer soft in the way of love. His penis gets hard indeed, but it's hard with a wrongness of excitement rather than a firmness, the firmness that love is. When your lover takes you in his arms, isn't it lovely to have the firmness of his arms around you? You don't want the hardness of his love. You want the firmness of it, don't you, woman? Of course you do. Because love is firm, but not hard. And when the penis is hard from excitement and impatience, and that's how you can tell whether a man is ready to make love or not, if he's impatient and if his penis is going to be hard. And you're going to know it because you're a woman. Woman is sensitive to love. She has the instrument to record love, to register love. That's what her vagina is. That's what her whole body is. Man has the imperative to have sex. Of course he's looking for love, but nobody's ever told him the difference between sex and love until he's come here. So the idea of the penis in its essential state in a loving relationship is that the penis is supposed to take all the self-doubt of past relationships out of the woman. Through the interaction of their bodies, just their bodies being together, as well as the penis in the vagina, all that is a transmission between the two bodies of something psychic. We're talking of something psychic here. And you can't see anything that's psychic here, except I'll tell you that every reaction that in every human being is psychic. It's not physical, it's psychic. And so this accumulation of psychic pain, emotional pain from disappointments, accrues in the woman and accrues in the man as sexual lack of sexual fulfillment. You know, fulfillment in the sexual drive in man is for him to have an orgasm. But a man of love is not just looking for orgasm. He's looking for something else in the woman. He takes his time. He's not impatient. He's looking for what woman has in her essence. And that is something that he can never get anywhere else, because he gets it through his penis, in her deepest place, where she can be penetrated by love. And she then gives up something that is so powerful and beautiful that often, in the beginning, it makes him come. It's so good, it's so beautiful, boom, he's gone. But that doesn't matter. With some perseverance and her cooperation, knowing how that when he touches her, this extraordinary beauty pulls the trigger on his glandular system. And she understands that, and he practices that with her so that he gets more and more able to just make love and not focus on where he is or any imagination, where he just enjoys the pleasure of being in her body or against her body or wherever it is that we make love. Then gradually he will overcome the imperative to have an orgasm. I mean, he will have orgasms, and why not? There's nothing wrong with orgasms. But to have it where, when you can't control it to some degree, means that you're excited. And man's usually excited before you start. As if you've got my making love tapes, you'll be conversant with what I'm saying. So the point is that a loving penis is healing woman, not just through the love of man who cares for her, looks after her, just as she cares for him and looks after him, both in different ways. So there's a job going on here between this most powerful of instruments, which is the penis, which has the semen to make life, but on its own, it's not worth that. Masturbation, there's nothing wrong with masturbation, but why masturbate? It's because I haven't learnt yet how to love. And where's the semen go? Nowhere. And in woman, the same as when she's learnt to masturbate from man, he's taught her how to masturbate. Where's it go when she has an orgasm that way? It doesn't go anywhere. But when the power of the semen in the uterus, through the vagina, the power of those two together alone can make life, make the body that you and I are. This is amazing power, to actually produce a living body. But of course, we don't look so deeply at these things, do we? We scurry along the top with sex shops and all we want is excitement and stimulation. But what about the purpose of it all? And what does a man do as he becomes less patient, less impatient? He then serves himself. He has self-knowledge. He is more a man than he was when he was a driven sexual act. And then he helps woman. And of course she, by being able to give up her wondrous mystery through making love, she heals him, tells him that it's all right by saying nothing or by saying what she says. It's all right, it's all right. And they're both united in this love. So what do you do in a new relationship? You certainly don't plunge into bed. You get to know whether the man loves to be with you, whether he enjoys walking along the beach with you or in the park with you, holding your hand, whether his hand has got the touch of a sweetness in it that's not a grasping, that's not trying to get something from you, that he enjoys being with you, that you laugh together and that you just enjoy being together. Now, one thing leads to another. You don't have to rush into bed. But man will always endeavour to rush you into bed. And he's very patient. He's sexually very patient to achieve his ends. So a woman has to wait and just see that there's sufficient love in the man and not just the cunning of sexual getting. But that's all right. She's in charge. She knows. She's got the wisdom of woman of ages. She knows. She hasn't got much wisdom these days because man has convinced her into bed we get. The newspapers have convinced her, the magazines, how to do it 50 different ways. I mean, this is on every glossy magazine every week. You can see all variations of how to do it in 50 different ways. Well, I don't want to know how to do it in 50 different ways. If there are different ways of making love, it's in my body. My body will naturally do all the different ways of making love that are right for me. My body makes love, not my mind and not my emotions. No one has ever made love with their emotions except by masturbation. You don't make love with your body in masturbation. You are driven by your emotions and your sexual frustration, which is all psychic and emotional. When the body makes love, which is natural, because the body is the only thing that can make love, then a natural process goes on, one of interaction, a sweet movement, a right movement, without the stimulation of excitement and its hardness. The sort of dance of love. That's what it should be, when the bodies make love.